What's going on, everybody? It is another week of What the F Happened, and holy crap, do we have a show for you today. We've got to talk about a lot of things, but crypto, we're going to talk about the falling crypto prices. Are you buying or are you selling? We still got to talk about this inflation issue. Is it real? Is it not? Yellen says that inflation is all because of COVID. Well, let's get into that shit because that's fucking insane. And then we're going to talk about Elon Musk and a whole bunch more, but stay with us because we've got What the F Happened and some special guests. We'll see you in a second. All right, welcome back to What the F Happened. It has been absolute craziness in the markets. Everything from crypto to inflation. Have you guys actually been to the grocery stores lately or filled your car up? Because that shit is real. It is not going anywhere, and I don't see pricing coming down on anything. But you know what? Yellen doesn't think so. She thinks it's all about COVID. We're going to get into that. But here, we're going to actually start with inflation. I want to ask every single one of you, before I announce my two guests here, is inflation a hidden tax? I want you to think about that. And just so everybody knows, I'm joined with my partner in crime, Stephen Nagy. We call him Snaggy. And we've got a special guest on today who's a great contributor to this show, always commenting, always showing up. Ben, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Chris?
Doing good, man. Doing good. And we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So, Ben, let's start with you. What is inflation?
Inflation, right? Rising prices.
But why? Why do prices go up?
Well, lots of reasons. Low supply.
Okay.
Increased demand.
Yeah.
Some people say increased money supply, but if people aren't spending their money, then you can't have inflation.
That's a good point. Yeah. People don't spend money, then hey, inflation's not going anywhere. That's a good point. Well, let's look at it, so just everybody knows, with What the F Happened, we love to rant, we love to rave, and we love to argue. So I'd love your guys' opinions on inflation. And Stephen, what do you got to say about inflation?
Listen, man, I brought this subject up today. We've been talking a lot about inflation because it's all over the news. The Fed is talking about it. The president is talking about it. Congress is talking about it. We're passing $1.2 trillion bills and $1.9 trillion bills and trillions of dollars being printed. And we're being told by the talking heads on media.
Money's just dropping out of the sky.
We're being told that none of this printing of money and spending of trillions of dollars is going to affect inflation at all. How the hell is that popular? We have people like Jim Cramer telling us that. We have people, it's nuts. So I wanted to bring it up. And I got into a heated debate last week with a guy about inflation being a hidden tax. And he was adamant that inflation is not a tax. But let's think about that for a minute. And that's what I wanted to start off with today, because that's bullshit if you ask me. Inflation is nothing but a hidden tax, especially on the middle class, the very people that we are supposed to be fighting for and helping, right? So that's what I want to talk to you and get your opinion on this morning, Chris, to start things off.
Well, I mean, anyone that doesn't see inflation as a hidden tax has obviously not lived in this country, or actually probably not from this fucking planet, because of course it's a hidden tax. Who drives inflation? Government policy. When they keep interest rates extremely low, like they are right now, and there's nothing they can really do about that because they've got themselves backed into a corner, they keep printing more money, which increases the money supply, gives everybody extra money, which I think we have all seen. COVID was the big, I don't want to call it an excuse because it's pretty freaking real. Any of you that haven't had it yet, believe me, if you don't think it's real, get it and you'll realize how real it is. But, we've all lost people to it. And that has given the government the ultimate hall pass to go out there and print money, which has then pumped money into the system. And also COVID did a unique thing. We all got locked into our houses for a very long period of time, which then made us start doing what? Well, saving some money, paying off debt because we couldn't go out and spend it at the clubs or spend it at the restaurants. And we all of a sudden started loving buying shit on Amazon. But then there became another problem because of COVID. Employers could not hire people. They couldn't get people to help with the production of goods and services that everybody was buying. And now you got this damn backed up thing out in the harbor. And I was in Huntington Beach a couple months ago for a mastermind, and literally ships for days out in the harbor, out in the ocean, just sitting there parked. That's where all your goods are. They can't even get them. It's created massive supply and demand things. And a lot of people want to blame it on that, but it is not that. The government uses inflation as a hidden tax. You just don't know it. All of you just think that the price of goods goes up, okay? That you all think that the price just goes up on things because of supply and demand. Now, that's a piece of it, but that isn't the whole piece, because if you really were to look at inflation, and I did this back a while ago, and I'm just going to pop it up here since this is a topic that we need to discuss right here. 1913, when the tax code was written, okay? Also, when the Fed was created, $100 had buying power of $100. Fast forward to 2019. For any of you that can see that, how much buying power does that same $100 from 1913 have? $3.87. Look it up, folks. You don't think that's a hidden tax? Of course it is. It's one of the biggest reasons and one of the biggest things that erodes your wealth. So believe me, if any of you think that inflation is simply supply and demand, you are missing the big picture. So inflation is and always has been a hidden tax. Now, Ben, do you got anything to say on that?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to point out, like cryptocurrency, the great thing about cryptocurrency is that it's deflationary. There's only, I believe, 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in circulation. And with, the money that we use, they just print it and print it and print it. And yeah, so like I looked at Bitcoin in 2015. I didn't actually buy any. I wish I looked at a graph of it, because I think it was $1,000 in 2013, and it was down to 200 in 2015. And I was like, I don't want to buy this thing that's literally like nothing. What am I actually buying? But I finally did get into it. I believe it was 2017, around $4,000. And like within a year, it hit 10,000. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm out. I don't think it can go any higher than this. And then it doubled in 2 weeks from 10 to 20 and then crashed.
Well said. And everybody here on TikTok was getting all mad because I didn't invert my screen. My goodness, it's whoa.
I can't miss anything.
Whoa,
but
flip
Chris,
your screen in all caps. It's like, wow. All right, guys. I flipped the screen for your sorry asses. All right.
Let me add this. Let me add this, Chris. Let me just ask this question, right? First off, what is a tax, right? So a tax is something people pay to the government, so the government can then take that money and use it to provide services or goods or whatever back to the people, right? So if the government wants to increase the taxes, they can say, okay, you can simply pay a percentage more, a percentage point or more, however much more than what you're already paying us through direct taxes. Or let me just ask this question. If everything we are currently paying for, all goods, go to the grocery store, all of your food, all of your gas, what do you do when you go to the grocery store? If you spend $200 worth of groceries, do you give them $200 or do you give them $212 because there's a 6% tax on goods in the state, right? So you're paying taxes there. So if the price that you were paying at the grocery store last year was $100 and the price now this year is $200 for those exact same goods, you now essentially doubled the taxes that you're giving to the government for the exact same goods. And it's like that across the board. Look at housing. Okay, housing is up 30, 40, 60% in some parts of the country over the last couple of years. Well, what do we pay to live in the homes that we live in? We pay property taxes. What are property taxes based on? The value of that home. So if the value of that home goes up 50%, what happens to the property taxes you're paying? They go up tremendously. So you're giving the government more money for the exact same thing. So how the hell is inflation not a hidden tax, people?
Hell yeah.
I wanted to add one more thing.
Hold on, I had to get the clapping machine out here. That was pretty good. All right, Ben, hit it up, man.
So if you look at the car market, that's pretty insane. I work at a dealership, And we had, like, I looked at the back lot, and this is like the biggest dealership in Western New York, and there's no cars. And I asked one of the managers, I was like, how many new cars do you have? Like 15? He's like, we have 9. 9 new cars at one of the biggest dealerships. We had like 200, 300 earlier in the year. We only have 9 new cars, and you should see the sticker prices on some of these used cars. I saw a Audi A4. I looked at the sticker price before I knew it was an A4. It was $37,000 for a 2018. So I was like, okay, this has got to be like an S4, right? No, it was an A4. I looked at the buyer's guide.
A4s, they don't even sell for that much money brand new a year ago.
Yeah. And listen to this. I bought my wife a Hyundai Kona last year as a 2020. The sticker price was $22,000. And we wanted to get something bigger. We just had our first kid, and it was just too small. So we traded it in for $19,000. And some of these cars that people are trading in, they're giving them like this. They're paying trade-in for what they paid like a year ago. This car has 11,000 miles on it. It's a 2020. It's a year old, and we almost got the sticker price. So you're seeing cars actually appreciate. I know people who are selling their car for more than they paid for it.
Yeah, I just did it, man. Ben, I got a G-Wagon, and I literally just sold my G-Wagon for more than what I paid for it, and I drove it free for a year and a half. I actually made 10 grand on this truck, and I drove it free for a year and a half. That's the only time in history that can ever happen. It doesn't matter if it's a G-Wagon, a Hyundai, a Chevy. It doesn't make a difference. Right. I want to comment on, somebody here on TikTok said something that I really wanted to bring out. YBZZ1 is his name, or his little tag there. He said, well, it's driven by supply and demand. He's talking about inflation being driven by supply and demand. But the Fed and the government get to control supply and demand. That is a really good way to say it, man. That is bravo to that, man. That's a great way to say that. And then we got a bunch of other things going up. But yeah, I mean, we can look at cars, we can look at gas, we can look at groceries. The big thing you got to look at is all of this inflationary pressure is not going away. Your dollars that you make today are not going to, they're worth the most today. Tomorrow, they're worth less. The week after, they're worth less. A year later, they're worth less. You got to understand this is a hidden tax. It's not going away. It's been around since the Fed and the tax code was created in 1913. Study history, read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Play the video. This video is badass. And for all of you TikTokers, I'm actually going to do you a solid and show the video. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe inflation is our friend. We've heard that, right? So let's hear what Dan what George the original Bush has to say, right?
All right.
Is our friend. For example, consider this. In the year 2000, if current trends continue, the average blue-collar annual wage in this country will be $568,000. Think what this inflated world of the future will mean. Most Americans will be millionaires. Everyone will feel like a big shot. Wouldn't you like to own a $4,000 suit and smoke a $75 cigar, drive a $600,000 car? I know I would. But what about people on fixed incomes? They have always been the true victims of inflation. That's why I will present to Congress the Inflation Maintenance Program, whereby the U.S. Treasury will make up any inflation cost losses through direct tax rebates to the public in cash. Now, you may say, won't that cost a lot of money? Won't that increase the deficit? Sure it will. But so what? We'll just print more money. We have the papers, we have the mints. I can just call up the Bureau of Engraving and say, hi, this is Jimmer. Roll off some of them 20s. Print up a couple of thousand sheets of those century notes. Sure, the glut of dollars will cause even more inflation, but who cares? Everybody will be a millionaire.
Man, 30 years later, couldn't even
30 years ago, that video, that's insane. 30 years ago, that video was done. And Instagram, I apologize if you couldn't hear that. We're going to fix that for you next week. But TikTok kind of got the ride on that train there. That was a SNL skit that was done 30 years ago about inflation. We'll just print some more of those. The inflation maintenance program sounds a little bit like what's going on today, huh, Stephen? The inflation maintenance program, cued off by COVID, the open hall pass to go out there and print unlimited amounts of money. And who's going to foot the bill? Wow.
The amount of SNL skits and Babylon Bee articles and things that actually do come true is just mind freaking blowing, man. It's like they're predictors of the future.
And it's like we talk about inflation, and maybe we're beating this one to death, but roll up those 20s. I mean, it's all government created, and it always has been, and it always will be. And now more than ever, they are trying to drive this because it just makes sense for the government. It doesn't make sense for you guys filling your cars up, which is why they're pushing this EV initiative. Folks, listen, like you all might be buying into this whole electric car thing and everybody's going to have an electric car. We don't have the freaking infrastructure to support electric cars. You have everybody now buying electric cars. You let me know what that's going to do to the power grid. They don't have enough manpower to fix the power grid and to actually add enough charging stations in the next decade to support this absolutely insane initiative on what they're calling is save the world from the world's overheating. It's always been overheating, folks. Gosh, I can't remember who was that guy that did that. He was running for government, I think president, and he did that whole video series on the world and climate control. Who was that? Do you remember? It was many years ago. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
Al Gore, maybe?
Al Gore. There we go. See, Ben, of course, Ben's he's got a photographic memory. Al Gore. Like the world's been heating up since Al Gore, and now all of a sudden, now it's back on the radar. It's. Listen, I'm not saying we don't have climate control problems. I'm simply saying it's a government. It's just a big push for the government. That's all it is. Stephen, what do you got here? What are we playing?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, because the question really becomes like, what do you do, right? Is inflation going to keep rolling? Are we going to get to hyperinflation like Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, says, or are people like Jim Cramer on MSNBC and CNBC stations that are telling us inflation is easing, believes the Fed's approach is right, that things are all going to be fine? Like, who do you believe? What do you do? Like, what do you do to protect yourself? And one thing I wanted to point out, because, we talked about this in the past, we like to point out what's going on because we not only like to kind of bitch and complain and have some fun with it, but more importantly, we like to provide solutions and how it actually can help you and your family into the future. So I just wanted to point out at 1 p.m. Eastern today, we're starting a 6-week series on the money multiplier and taking back control of your wealth. So make sure you join us at 1 p.m. today. You can go to chrisnaugle.com, go to Wealth Webinar Wednesday. We'll give you a free ebook for registering. If you can't make it live, we'll send you the recording in the next day or two. But get on there live if you can, because you'll ask questions, interact, and we're going to teach you how to start taking back control of your money and doing things like beating inflation, where if we stick with 6% inflation for a while, who cares? Because our money is outpacing it. So we're still beating 99% of other people out there. So make sure you join us today. And who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe the talking heads on TV or your own eyes that you're seeing at the gas pumps, you're seeing at the grocery stores, you're seeing when you can't go buy all these toys for your kids this Christmas? Who are you going to believe, them or yourself?
Ghostbusters. That's who you're going to believe. And it's interesting. A lot of people say, oh, you keep bitching about inflation. But what's the solution? It's easy, folks. Follow the 6 laws of wealth and move your money. First, you got to save money in order to move it. If you're not saving money, sorry, we can't help you. But if you're saving money, then you got to make that money go work for you by moving it. Listen, if you watch the Berkshire Hathaway meetings or you read any books, all of them are telling you your money has to be in motion. When your money's sitting, when you park your money at a bank and a CD and a money market, when you just leave it sit there, it is eroding to inflation. But Colorado here on TikTok is blowing up some comments that make so much sense. First off, Colorado_conservative said inflation is all about money the Fed is printing. He's absolutely correct. But then he goes on to say this. He says the only way to bring inflation down. So finally, somebody's got some solutions. So Colorado said the only way to bring inflation down is if the Fed increases interest rates to bring it into supply, bring money supply, back into, the world of reality. But here's the thing. Is the Fed going to raise interest rates? Well, if you kind of look at history and you look at Japan, the answer would be no. And the U.S. government said they never put themselves in the position that Japan did, but they are. They're there now. They really can't raise interest rates because they've got a crying baby. How many of you have kids? Say aye. Okay, if you have kids, you know what it's like. When your kid starts screaming, what do? You go take care of it. You give your kid something. Some of you just leave the kid and you're like, I'll stop crying. But, most of you, especially mothers, run in there and you coddle the baby. Well, in this situation, who is the baby? Wall Street. And who is the mother coddling the baby? Yellen and the government and the Fed. They're like, oh, don't cry, baby. Don't cry. We won't raise interest rates because we don't want you to cry. That's it. The crying baby is Wall Street. And if they raise interest rates, here's what will happen. Mark my word. You will crash the markets. But you know what? It doesn't fucking matter if you think that that's the only way the markets are going to crash. They're going to crash anyway. I don't care what any of you think. If you all think, oh, the government can just print money and the markets are never going to go down. I hear this shit every day. So do you, Stephen. And Ben, I'm sure you do too. The government's going to keep printing money. The markets are never going to come down. Crypto is going to keep going to the moon. You are all fucking delusional. Excuse my language, but there's no other way for me to fucking put it. You are losing your mind. You are buying into FOMO and you're delusional. You're literally believing a fucking lie. Man, I just said the F word a lot right there. Woo! I'm on fire today. But Colorado, thank you for your comment. You are absolutely right. And eventually, the Fed will have to raise rates because inflation is getting out of control. But when they do, all I can tell you is the inevitable will happen. You will crash the whine. The whining baby will absolutely continue to cry and will then eventually throw its toys on the ground and do what it always does.
And Chris, the Fed, Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, who was, the leader of the Fed up until two seconds ago, she came out over the weekend and, of course, like you're saying, they're going to stay away from raising rates and doing whatever would really actually help in the long run, this country. But what they're saying now is the only way that we're going to lower inflation is by quashing COVID-19. And then on top of that, the Deputy Treasury Secretary came out yesterday and doubled down, saying prices are going to remain high until the COVID pandemic is over. So now we're back to blame every fucking thing on COVID.
Stupid political initiative. Unreal. Ben, you got to chime into this one, man, because I swore enough a little bit ago. So, take it to the next level. Is COVID the reason for prices being high?
Oh, I don't think so.
Maybe it's what kicked this whole thing off. But if we get COVID under control and all of a sudden they come up with a miraculous vaccine that all of a sudden nobody gets COVID anymore, that worked well, huh? If that actually were to happen, is inflation going to go back down? Is the cost of fuel going to go back to $2 when they stop the pipeline? Is your food that you buy going to go back down, to under 50%? Are your restaurants going to charge less? The protein shake that I get at the gym, is it going to go from $8 back down to $4? What do you think, Ben?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at the Baltic Dry Index, but it's like water falling right now, which is kind of concerning. We got the ships at ports. I don't think COVID has anything to do with the inflation. It led to the crash in March of 2020. And then, they started handing out all this free money and people pumped up the markets and the markets are still being pumped up.
I agree. I think it's just one giant political agenda. Listen, I was extremely hopeful when the vaccine came out that it was going to get things under control. But as of today, I can't count the number of friends I have, vaccinated friends that have COVID and have had serious COVID. And I know many people, okay, and these aren't people that I actually am friends with, but I know many people that have told me that people have died from COVID that were vaccinated. Yeah. So please explain to me, what is the solution to ending COVID? I think it's time, and I think it's being smart. It's the magic pill. It's always the red or blue pill, right?
Yeah. That's fine. But from a policy standpoint, we have vaccinations. I know that there's the cases where people are, but for the most part, you're very, very, very protected from COVID with the vaccination. If you believe in natural immunity, you've already had it. Great. Pfizer now came out with a pill that reduces hospitalizations and deaths by 90 some percentage points.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
Boosters are available now. They're giving it to kids now if you're worried about that. So we're done. I mean, what does zero COVID look like? It's not reasonable. It's destructive, and it's going to destroy this country. Literally, look what it's doing in China. I mean, China is quote unquote going for a zero COVID policy, right? So what does that look like in China? Besides the fact that they lie about everything that they do as far as numbers and all, let me just show you what zero COVID in China looks like. I'm not going to play this video because it's fucking disturbing, but the Chinese authorities beat a corgi, a little puppy dog, to death over the weekend, and it was caught on video because they thought the dog had COVID. So they literally took the thing and beat it with sticks. I mean, that's what zero tolerance, quote unquote, looks like. Is that what we want in this country? You tell me, Chris.
No, that's absolutely not what we want. That's sickness. But, you know, China's kind of a sick place where nobody really has any rights in. We don't even know what's going on there. You can't believe anything, including the numbers that come out of China. So it's pointless to even talk about China because we are in the greatest country on earth, the United States of fucking America. If you don't think this is the greatest country, the land of opportunity, the land of freedom, then get the fuck out. Why are you here? That's the thing I can't understand about all these people that say, oh, the United States is bad, burning flags and all this, man. Listen, when I was in high school, I was a scrapper. This nose has been broken 5 times. I am ready to fight for this country under that one thing, like not for COVID or any of this other crap. But you know what? For people that don't think this is the land of opportunity and don't want to see this remain the land of opportunity, like, listen, that's where I draw the line. And that's where I'd say I'm fighting for freedom. And because there's 2 people that have died to maintain this freedom.
All right, just a direct point to what you're saying, like the freedom we have are unbelievable. Even when it comes to the financial markets, I mean, the fact that we can openly open an app on our phone and trade stocks, trade cryptos. I mean, again, not talking about China, but they're shutting down trading of cryptos, of certain stocks, of what kids are allowed to do, things like that. We don't want to go that direction. But more importantly, how many times do we get calls booked with us every single day, emails sent to us, requests sent to us, wanting to open privatized banking policies, money multiplier policies, people from Europe, people from Australia, people from other countries. And guess what we tell them? We can't help them because they have such restrictive laws in those countries. They're not able to create and develop privatized banking policies. What are privatized banking policies? It's what's going to protect your wealth. It's what's going to help you outpace inflation. It's what's going to create generational legacies for you and your family. And that's what we're talking about today at 1 p.m. on the Wealth Webinar Wednesday. But people in other countries can't do it. It's the freedoms that we have here that Chris is talking about protecting right now that we need to keep, period.
Yeah, so many people, they think that we are oppressed and they have this victim mentality. Like I talked to someone the other day, they believe that we're in a caste system. Like you're stuck in your economic class based on your parents. Like they think that you can't, there's no opportunity. Like doesn't make any sense.
You know, it's sad, you know, and I kind of feel bad for people like that feel like we're stuck in the life that we live and the money that we have because of our family. I can't, there's no way I could ever accept that as reality because I know too many people that were born with nothing that have gone on to be wildly successful, and along their journey to becoming wildly successful and wealthy, they have brought an awful lot of people along with them. That's the beauty about, you know, creating wealth, not, you know, creating, you know, someone who's rich on paper, you know, all this crypto stuff, which we're going to move into where everybody's rich on paper from crypto. I want to know all those people that make all this money in crypto. I want you to tell me your path to actually converting all of your crypto money into actual exchangeable currency. Dollars, money. Yeah. Okay. Money is nothing more than a means of exchange. You can't exchange your crypto. Oh, sure. Yes, we can. We can exchange it for other cryptos. It's smoke and mirrors, folks. There's no fundamental basis. It's not an exchangeable. You just can't exchange it. And we're going to get into that because, you know, down here, Ben is really big into this. And I know some people on here are NFT people, which, hey, NFTs could be the future. Bitcoin could be the future. I very much doubt it because you guys all know the government is not going to adopt Bitcoin as the currency. They're going to create their own. And then they're going to tell all of you, just like gold, to trade in your Bitcoin or whatever coins you have. And they might even do like, hey, it's a 2-for-1 special. Give us one of your Bitcoins. We'll give you 2 of these digital currencies that we've created. It's going to happen. And then Bitcoin will go underground. It will not go away. Bitcoin's here to stay. So is Ethereum. And so are probably a lot of these, not Dogecoin, not Shiba Inu, not any of these other ones. Those you all will all find out. They will go to zero, and all of you playing in that space, if you didn't take your gains off the table, which could be significant right now, you will lose it all. Mark my word. Like, we can have this conversation when it happens, and you can say, boy, I wish I would have listened, but you won't, because you're stuck in this FOMO, false reality. What do we got here? Bitcoin. Let's talk about it. And Ben, I love this because this is your topic, buddy. And a lot of people are going to come in here. See somebody on here, NFT Animator said each cryptocurrency has a monetary value. Yes. Based on what? NFT. What is the monetary value based on? What fundamental, like, where are the fundamentals behind it? Please tell me. It is investor confidence. When you lose investor confidence, which will come when the stock market crashes, the crypto market, maybe initially it might spike because people are going to have to find somewhere for their money to go. But eventually that will crash, creating a massive buying opportunity for the smart ones that actually sit on the sidelines. I think, and don't mark my word on this, but I think you will see Bitcoin in the $20,000 range again in the next 2 years. Not this year for sure. I think you'll see Bitcoin at 80,000 by the end of the year. But when it does, how many of you will actually have the money to actually buy it at 20,000? Because I bet you the answer is not enough of you, because you will all ride this pony all the way up and then all the way down because your investor confidence, you think that it's going to keep going, and you will be wrong. I'm sorry. You will be. History will prove me right and you wrong if you think it's going to continue to go. But I'm not saying it's going to end. I'm not saying that this is all just a big scam. I'm saying you have to trade it and play it for what it is. Ben, what do you think, man? Because Bitcoin's just gone from 69,000 to 59,000. Are you buying?
1 week.
I'm actually not buying right now.
Smart man.
I'm waiting. So like I said before, I was out at 10,000 in 2017, right before the big crash. Mm-hmm. I missed, a lot of gains, but it went down to like 3,000. And then I was back in maybe end of 2019 and really ramped up the buying when I was getting my free $600 from the government, and found out that I didn't have to go into forbearance. So, yeah, I canceled that. I was like, my tenants, they lost their jobs. I lost my job. How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay the mortgage? So got the free money from the government. I was like, okay, I'm going to put all this money into Bitcoin because, free money will probably turn into inflation. Bitcoin went down to $5,000, and then I waited. And I sold early January at 30,000, missed out on it, doubled again. Funny how that works.
It's okay though. But you made money, man. Yeah. You didn't lose money.
Right. And I went back in when it went from 60 to, I started dollar cost averaging, I think around 40,000. So my average cost is 35 right now. And I've taken a little bit of profits in Ethereum. I'm waiting till 80 to take more profits. If it gets to that, it might not, but I really think that since it passed the all-time highs in, I believe, May, that it will have one leg higher before the big crash. And usually like 80% crashes in cryptocurrency are common. So I want to start buying below 40,000.
Amen, man. Listen,
I'm going to hold. If it goes down, I'll buy more,
So none of you probably know Ben, but Ben's been on What the F Happened for quite a while. And his comments were, and just like Colorado's here, his comments really stood out. I watch the comments and I read. Most of it's just, people commenting and nothing of real substance. But Ben, his comments had substance, just like this gentleman Colorado has. And when I see that, I realize that this person knows more than what we're giving credit for. So I brought him on the show. I don't know if you just heard him, but he's got rules for trading. And not only that, listen, the one thing I can say about crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and, some of the, original ones that we all know, thank God, because crypto and day trading, for that matter, saved a whole lot of people during COVID. It kept them from losing their houses. It kept the roof over their head, food on the table, diapers on the baby. Like, it was amazing that people actually adopted this. And now it's kind of, you know, it's definitely here to stay, but it's spun into something that, you know, I think is largely due to investor confidence when you talk about the shit coins. But, you know, and one other thing I did want to bring up, because Ben, I want your comment on this. We had NFT Animator, which I'm guessing NFT Animator is making money on NFTs. Sounds much like it. He said, let's see, NFTs have become the new stock market. I'm dropping fresh NFT. Oh, yep. See, there he's promoting. But he said something that made sense here. Each cryptocurrency has monetary value. Monetary value is based on how many dollars are in it. Can you comment on that one statement? Because I disagree, because I think the monetary value is based on investor confidence that is there, not actual real dollars or fundamentals. What do you think, Ben?
I think you guys are kind of both right. So things are kind of shifting. I don't know too much about the NFTs. I don't own any NFTs, don't fully understand it. The non-fungible token, it's like digital art to me, but people are actually, they are like buying digital real estate already in the metaverse. And I guess people are even like renting out digital space. And this isn't like a lead buyer, like a lead generating site. It's not like that. It's actual like virtual space. So with the NFTs, I think like there could be a shift, but I think the NFTs will probably be a similar crash to all the, you know, crypto crashes we've seen. I think that it is the future. Like I said, I don't really know that much about it, so I can't, you know, I don't have an educated commentary on it.
Yeah, I mean, this tweet on the screen right here, this was put up 2 days ago by Shiba's founder, Nakamoto. He said, I'm convinced that less than 1% of people who talk about crypto know even the most basic things about it, which I'd agree with. And Elon says, you know, comments, normal money is actually a bunch of ancient mainframes running COBOL in batch mode where government can edit money database whenever they want. So Elon Musk has been real hot on Twitter lately, coming out with some good takes.
Oh my God, I loved his one thing. I'm not even going to go into it. It's too political, but there's some really fun stuff he's been putting out there. You know, and listen, NFT Animator on TikTok here, you know, listen, there's some, you know, substance to what you're saying, and you're far smarter about NFTs than myself and Steven, and probably even, you know, than Ben, because we're all, yes, early adopters, but we're still learning it. But the one thing that takes away all your credit, because now I'm just going to try to argue with you, the one thing that just took away every bit of credit and credibility that you ever had on this show for anyone to even listen to a fucking thing you say was when you are sitting there pushing your agenda to get people to watch your page because you're selling something. When people are selling something, of course you're going to be bullish on it. Of course you're going to say that it's got this value. Of course you're going to be pro it because you got something to make from it, dude. Like this show, we do this for free. We don't monetize this show. You're on here trying to monetize your page, which just took all your credibility away. And listen, I'm not trying to be a dick. Well, actually, maybe I am. I'm always a dick. But hey, you either love me or hate me. I could care less either way. But the one thing you should really learn is that the secret to success is helping other people solve their problems. Here you are, using someone else's show to try to solve your monetary problems. You're not solving anyone else's problems. So you just killed it for yourself, buddy. I don't know what else to say. And I bet you a lot of people would agree with that. But
I just want to throw out, be careful with NFTs. I truly believe NFTs are going to be the .com crash of our era. I think it's going to tumble like a block of freaking ice. I don't think it's going to end well. Just be careful out there.
Yeah. And Colorado right here, he said, I disagree. You know, he's talking about, I think what NFT was commenting. He said, I disagree. Many things have flooded with tons of money in it, and confidence leaves when the buyers leave. Absolutely. Like when you don't have buyers, you don't have value, and it's game over. Right now, it's all based on speculation, investor confidence, and everybody running to find things to invest in because they're scared of having money in cash, because they think with inflation, their cash is going to go down to nothing, which is Not true. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. Let me predict the future based on what happened in 1929, 2008, and any other recessionary period. Sorry, I'm a little older, and I've studied history probably more than 99% of all of you. I'm just a freaking nerd about history. Here's what's going to happen. Inflation is going to continue to run rampant because the government will allow it to. The government will keep printing money, which will keep inflating the money supply, which will keep all these bubbles nice and healthy until they're not anymore, until the government has to and is forced to raise interest rates. At that point, you will be not in an inflationary period anymore. You will immediately switch to deflation. And in deflation, all these asset bubbles will pop, will deflate, and things will come back down to levels where the smart money, the Warren Buffetts, the Ray Dalios, I'm going to call myself and Stephen and Ben smart money because we trade with rules. We will buy when everybody else is forced to sell because you ignored the laws of wealth. That will happen. We will go from inflation very quickly to deflation. Deflation will be great for people that are ready, that have been sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the opportunity. And all of you that are buying into this FOMO, this false reality, and have all this investor confidence, it's going to the moon. You are just like all the people back in 1926 to 1929 or 2006 and 2007 that were piling money into assets, into things in an inflated bubble. You will lose. Rich will become the next poor, and the true wealth, the smart money, will get richer. There it is. I just predicted the future for you. You can read The Creature from Jekyll Island. You can read any book about the Great Depression. That's reality. All this smoke and mirrors, all this stuff is great while you're making money, but have a plan on how to exit. Because Warren Buffett says it best. You got to buy low. Okay, maybe Bitcoin's cheap enough for some of you. I'm with Ben. I buy at 40,000. We will test 40,000. Maybe not this year. But, for Ben and I and many of you, that's okay. Like, it's a couple months away. We got Thanksgiving. We got Christmas. We can spend time with family. We don't need to worry about making all this money and trying to jump into something because we fear missing out. Oh, my God, if I don't buy Bitcoin at 59, I'm going to miss it when it goes to 80. So what? It'll be back down to 40. Hell, it might be back down to 20. Buy it then. Like, you're not missing out on anything, and you won't miss out on anything if you just trade with rules and you buy and you sell and take your gains and convert them to actual money, which is a means of exchange, and then you find ways to move your money. Come to the webinar this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll teach you how to move money. We'll teach you how the wealthy do it, how the banks do it, how all of them move money through a system and through a vehicle that's been around for hundreds of years. You should just join us. Or like Colorado said, watch the 90-minute video on my website, chrisnaugle.com. And here's the beauty. Like NFTs, like, oh, here you are pushing your agenda. No, shit's free, man. We don't charge for this webinar. Like, you can go to my website and watch all our videos for free. We're not trying to sell you NFT digital art. All we're doing is trying to educate you to try to save your family's financial future. That's what we're here to do. Stephen, what's the next topic? Because we're done with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to go buy NFTs, then do that with your money, but get educated on it first and learn that, there might be better investment options out there. Yeah. So, we're talking a little bit about Elon Musk. There's been a lot of talk back and forth these days about, what Elon's doing with his stock options. Chris, do you want to just briefly explain kind of like what stock options are and what Elon's doing right now? That because what's happening is Elon has, 23 million shares expiring in August, which is also the deadline for his tax bill that's due in the IRS. Musk started exercising the options November 8th. He exercised $2.5 billion in shares, $1 billion in shares, and sold 1.1 billion of those exercised options to pay the taxes. And then they're saying that might not be the whole picture. The only reason he's selling is to pay taxes. There's probably more to that story, why he's selling Tesla and why he's selling these stocks. Any comments on that?
I mean, stock options are very easy to understand. Any of you can just go to Google, you can look it up, and basically a stock option, and it's common in the publicly traded company space. It's the right to buy a set number of shares at a set prefixed price. That's all. So like, a stock option, you work for a company, they can give you stock options that vest in, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. It just gives you the right to buy the stock at a set price, which might be significantly less than the stock is valued, or hey, maybe the stock's worth more. I mean, it can go both ways, but it's a smart way. A lot of people use stock options. If you read Steve Jobs' book, a lot of how he played the game with Apple when, he basically I don't want to say lost Apple, but got bought out, and then he bought back in. It was all through stock options. He won that bet, did he not? So that's all stock options are. And then you just exercise at that strike price or that preset price, and then you actually own the stock. But if you bought it at 20 and the stock is appreciated to 100, you did pretty good with your stock options. I hope that was a okay representation.
Yeah, definitely. So this goes back to last week we talked about, because Elon had put a poll, a survey on his Twitter account asking users, should I sell, 10 billion shares or whatever it was? And 58% of people said yes, and 40 some said no. So he ended up selling, right? And now, he's kind of messing a little bit with Bernie Sanders here, which Elon, the constant antagonist in all this, which is interesting to see someone, the richest man in America that heads these incredible companies like Tesla and SpaceX and the Boring Company, being so brazen, in my opinion, on Twitter and what he says. But, he starts out with saying, I keep forgetting that you're still alive, which is just hysterical. But, and then he's saying, hey, you want me to sell more stock, Bernie? Just say the word. And then he goes on. Sorry, this thing just takes a second to pull this stuff up.
That's all right, dude. People are loving this.
He said the very next day, just check this one out. And then these are the only two I had for you. So Bernie, the very next day, comes out and says, we must demand that the extremely wealthy pay their fair share, period. So Elon simply asks, okay, how much do you think is fair? Does 53% seem reasonable? And, he goes on to say, Bernie never actually responds on Twitter. And Elon says, how do we know he hasn't been kidnapped by aliens? Having a little fun. But the point of the matter is, what is fair? What is a fair share? I mean, it brings up a great point. We've brought people on our show in the past that teach things like 1041 tax reporting. And, it's said that there's two tax laws in this country, one for the informed and one for the non-informed, and both are legal. So what is fair and how does that work? And I saw somebody ask in the comments earlier, what if we went to a simple tax structure of, it's just flat across the board.
Flat tax, yeah.
Structure. I mean, the tax code is tens of thousands of pages. Like, why is that? But what is the fair share? And it just brings up the whole tax thing. It's a fascinating question, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if I may comment, and then Ben, I want you to comment on this as well. I mean, we all, I think, love Elon Musk. I mean, he puts it out there. He's, I relate to him a lot. I mean, I swear a lot. He might not swear as much as I do, but like we both just say what's on our mind. Maybe it gets us in trouble. Maybe it doesn't, but it certainly gets a rise out of most people, love it or hate it. But here's the thing, like taxes. What is the fair share? Well, all of you should write this down. And the book is called The Power of Zero. Okay, read the book, The Power of Zero, to understand a little bit more about taxes. I got news for everybody. The taxes that you pay today will be the lowest taxes you will ever pay for the rest of your life. So now if we think that, if we truly in our mind, in our heart, believe that today's taxes are the lowest they're ever going to be, then why would we be upset with selling stocks and paying capital gains on them? Why would we be upset with selling our real estate holdings and paying a fair share of taxes on that real estate? Well, most people don't want to pay tax. So what they do is they use things like exchanges, legal exchange programs. They use different ways to kick the can down the line and wait to pay the taxes to another day, or tax defer, or however you do it. In that strategy, when you are kicking the can, playing the tax deferred game, you will lose. The government loves you. Literally, they should mail you a Christmas present, because all you're doing is guaranteeing the government will get more tax dollars from you on your inflated assets down the line. That's it. I choose to now, right in this current environment, pay taxes. Okay. I have no problem. I think taxes are literally a luxury of making money. Now, do I know ways to pay less in taxes? Sure, I do. Do I file 1041? Not this year, but I will be in 2021. I will have trusts and foundations in place during that tax reporting. And I will have a little dial that will allow me to dial in how much I want to pay in taxes by how much money I actually take in a salary personally. And I will file a 1040 tax return on the amount that I take as a salary to live on. Okay. And I will not pay much in taxes on my 1041 tax reporting, which is trust and foundations. You guys, I'm not a CPA. I can't give tax advice, but listen, I have really smart people in my corner. I am the Henry Ford like mimicker. That's it. I have a row of buttons of smarter people than I am because I'm just not smart. Like if NFT, the animator on here was the NFT guy that I really wanted to learn from, he would have a button, but he never will because he's too arrogant in what he's doing. Okay, but Ben will be a button eventually, and smart people all get a button in my row of buttons because I'm just not smart enough. So I learn from smart people. Paying taxes today means that you don't have to pay them in the future, and you get to pay taxes at the lowest tax rate you'll ever pay them at. So that's my take on taxes, Stephen. And
this is exactly what you're saying exactly what the article is saying that Elon might be thinking, because it's going into the different reasons why he's selling now and what he could leave on the table if he didn't and what that looks like. But here, if you all the way to the end of the article, federal taxes are also likely to increase next year, creating an added incentive if he were already considering a cash out of why he's selling now. Exactly like you're saying, Chris, pay the taxes now because taxes are doing nothing but going up and up and up in the future. So take the hit now and move on.
Absolutely. And I think that's smart. And it's like crypto, all the stuff in crypto. We've all kind of had this nice little, gray area with crypto where we've been able to not have to pay taxes on some stuff, but those days are over. They're going to tax your crypto. They're going to tax your gains. You're not going to get around it. Hell, eventually they'll probably they'll probably do something where you have to pay taxes. They're trying to do this right now where you have to pay taxes on capital gains, even if you don't sell. There was one other thing. Oh yeah, this NFT guy's a joke. We know you're not smart. That's why we're exposing it. You know what, NFT animator? Go fuck yourself. I block your ass, and you'll never be on here again. You are just a twerp, a little coward, a little fucking piece of shit that's pushing your own agenda on what you're trying to sell. Save everybody the time and go fucking on somebody else's show because nobody wants your sorry ass here. You're probably fucking 13 years old and fucking doing your digital art. Dude, you are just a fucking joke. Unbelievable, But hey, that's what this show's all about. It's we rant, we rave, and we argue. This little bastard is getting the argument today. I love it. I get to finally do something. There was some other good things that were put in here, but that's all right. Let's keep talking here about
while you're looking for that. So what is leading to higher taxes? What is leading to inflation? Well, could a $2.4 trillion spending package lead to more inflation or more taxes? Well, let's see what the Committee for Responsible Federal Budgets came out with a couple days ago. So this is in relation to the Build Back Better bill that is trying to be tacked on to the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is just signed into law by Biden on Monday. So this is saying that we estimate, this is from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. We estimate the House Build Back Better includes roughly $2.4 trillion of spending and tax cuts, along with roughly $2.2 trillion of offsets. However, the bill relies on a number of sunsets and expirations. What that means is a sunset and expiration means they're putting a social program in for a certain amount of time and only counting the cost of it for, let's say, 5 years. But social programs like that very rarely, if ever, actually expire. They're always extended and they continue. So what they're saying here is this is relying on these things actually expiring, but odds are they will not. So they're saying to keep the official cost down. If the plan's temporary policies were made permanent, we find that the cost would increase by as much as $2.5 trillion. As a result, the gross cost of the bill would more than double from 2.4 to 4.9 trillion. So keep in mind, this is the bill that the administration is going around the country right now saying that is going to cost zero. There's zero cost to the Build Back Better agenda. There's zero cost, zero inflation, zero anything. You're not going to see any effect on taxes or anything. But the Committee for Responsible Federal Budgets is saying differently. So what are you going to believe? The inflation you're seeing at the grocery store or what the talking heads on TV are telling you?
Well, the talking heads on TV are always changing what they're saying. They'll say one thing one month. The next month, they totally contradict themselves and say something else. Ben, what's your opinion on this?
Oh.
Put you right on the spot, man.
A lot of opinions.
Well, just blurt them out, man. Blurt them out.
All right, I got a little distracted, so just give me one question, and I'll answer the question. That's a lot of stuff to respond to. Is
Build Back Better going to cost?
Is it nothing? No. It's gonna cost us in some way shape, or form. And like you said, they're printing trillions and trillions of dollars, and we're going to be footing that bill. And like, I'm glad that I sold my cryptocurrency this year, because I'll probably pay less tax than what I'm selling in the future. And yeah, like you said, the tax is probably going to continue going up. People want to be like all the socialist countries and pay 50% tax. And I don't want to pay 50% tax, but some people do, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think the people that do, Ben, are the people that just want everything handed to them, and they don't understand the ramifications of what that means. There is no free lunch, folks. There is no cavalry coming to save you. It's a game of smoke and mirrors and buying your vote. That's all it is. Just like Colorado just said, government social programs never die. They are always extended to try to keep future votes. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. And, you know, it's we all just constantly have to just keep, you know, watching this, evolving with it, and learning. We can't beat the system. The Fed, right? So all of you really should read The Creature from Jekyll Island. The Fed is not owned by the government. The Fed is a private institution of the wealthiest families. Heck, we don't even know who sits on that board. I guarantee Satan's one of them. But hey, who am I to say? I don't know. Read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. You'll understand more about the Fed. It's not going anywhere. They control it all. Okay. It's the puppeteers up at top. That's what they're doing. And we just need to learn how to play the game. Okay. We can't beat the game. We just got to play within the rules and just learn how that works, because the tax code specifically has ways to beat it, because the wealthy, the voters, okay, that all that plays into, they need a way to not have to do what we have to do. Like, just look around. Like, they don't pay the taxes you do. They don't have to abide by the same rules, but it's not because they're bending the rules or beating the rules. They're playing within them. They just understand them, the informed versus the uninformed. Stephen, what were you going to share there?
Yeah, so I was just gonna, you could show this to your NFT boy. You know, this sending the free advertising.
My NFT guy that said,
if you want to promote something, go pay for it. Crypto.com just signed a $700 million deal with the Lakers Center for naming rights. So crypto's not going anywhere. It did get a little setback this week. The SEC ruled against making the crypto ETF fund available, which is interesting because people were very, very confident that ETF fund was going to be approved by the SEC. They just said no to that. So we'll see where that goes. But crypto's going nowhere, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I agree. And you know, like NFT animator, my buddy on here, who's, you know, not my best friend, he was saying, you know, you should use this as an opportunity to learn. And I would. Like, I'm learning from Ben. Like, look at Ben's on here. I could learn from Colorado. I could learn from a whole bunch of you.
Tell us, what's the value of Bitcoin? Yeah. What's the value of an NFT? Like,
yeah, but see, he's not, because he just wants to sell his stuff. He just wants people to go to his NFT animator page and buy something. And that's the exact reason why I would never listen to a word he says, because he doesn't understand the law. The law is very simple. In making wealth or teaching or doing anything, you have to give first. He's not giving. He's just trying to take. He's trying to make for himself. He's got himself in front of all of you. He doesn't understand how it works. So therefore, his knowledge, although he might have a ton of knowledge in NFT. I personally would never listen to a word he says, because he's just trying to sell something. So, you know, and the other thing, like, listen, like the wealth webinar that's going on today, it's a free webinar. There is nothing being sold on the webinar. If you go to my website to get my books, outside of paying for the shipping to get the book to your house, or just get the ebook, it's all free. All of our videos are free. Just go to chrisnaugle.com and get it for free. I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm not trying to get you to buy something. I'm just trying to educate you, because we know that if we help you solve your problems by putting you back in control of your money, then we have gained your trust, and you will get around the campfire and follow us. And eventually, yes, maybe we do business together. Eventually, maybe that, but only after we first solve your problem. Zig Ziglar said it best. If you help enough people get what you want, or if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. But if you want to get what you want first, and then you'll help people, you just violated the law, and you will get nothing, and your wealth will flee you, and you will be left poor. That's it. I'm sorry. That's the way it works. And until you understand that simple concept of give first and give unconditionally, nothing will ever change for you. You can keep pushing your NFT animator page, and nobody will ever really adopt it, because you got it backwards, buddy. All right. So one other thing I want to talk about, and Ben, I'm going to talk about this. Normally we don't, but I'm going to talk about it because you want to talk about it. And a lot of people earlier were talking about this. The infinite banking concept, the process of actually moving your money and taking back the banking functions. Let's get into that a little bit. So a lot of people want to know, what is privatized banking? What is the infinite banking concept? Too many people think the infinite banking concept is a product. It is not. People are like, oh, infinite banking concept, it's that whole life insurance policy that Dave Ramsey says sucks. You right off the bat, you made yourself seem dumb, and you should get knowledge and educated first, because the infinite banking concept, pioneered by Nelson Nash, read his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, is a process. It is a process of moving money. It is a process of literally mimicking what a bank does day in and day out with the money that you give them and you give up control of to them. They move your money. All it is taking back the banking functions that you've been taught to give away. So Ben, what do you think? What do you know about the infinite banking concept, and how do you think that can help people solve their money problems, the inflationary concerns that they have, and everything else?
Okay, well, actually, the funny thing is, I have my mapping meeting with Robbie right now. I was supposed to be with Andrew, but I couldn't get a hold of him for some reason. When I heard about this, I got really excited because, like, naturally, I'm not really an investor. I'd rather just save my money, but I don't like the fact that saving my money loses money. So, this is a way to combat that. And I tell people, like, I've told several people the concept, and obviously they think it's too good to be true because they don't show any interest. But, like, why wouldn't you do it? So it's the high early cash value whole life policy. You do the dump in and borrow against it, pay yourself back. It's simple, but too good to be true, I guess.
All right. So,
but it's not.
It's definitely not. And a lot of people think it's too good to be true, because it really does sound too good to be true. I mean, when we tell people that you can save money and spend money and never stop earning interest on the money that you spend, people are like, that's impossible. That's too good to be true. This must be a scam. It's not. It's very simple to understand when you actually get around the campfire and learn it, which is what that 90-minute video on my website teaches you. And it's exactly what we're going to be talking about at the Wealth Webinar today and for the next 5 weeks after today. But here, let me pose all of you some questions. This is probably the single best way to get me to help you, or to allow me to help you understand this. If all of you were entrepreneurs, just pretend that you're an entrepreneur and you owned a restaurant or maybe a chain of restaurants. Would you eat at your restaurant? Would you frequent your restaurant on a regular basis? Ben, Steven, if you owned a restaurant, would you go to your own restaurant and eat more than anywhere else?
All the time, man. All the time.
Of course you would. You'd be there to see your customers. You'd be eating there because it's your menu. You change the menu based on your likes and whatnot. So, Ben, would you eat at your restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay. How about all of you watching this? Yeah, all of you watching this, if you had a restaurant and you were the entrepreneur that owned the restaurant, would you eat at your restaurant? You would. It's your business. Now let's go next round. If you owned a hair salon, would you go to your hair salon to get your hair done? Or would you frequent your competition? Ben, Steven.
I'd be getting mine every 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be looking like this if I had my own hair salon. My hair is definitely not a priority to me lately, nor is shaving, but it is, what is it, Movember?
I would actually love that, because one of the things I dislike about getting my hair cut is having to go to a place like that and do it,
Yeah. But if you owned your own salon, of course you would get your hair cut and your hair styled and all your stuff done at your business. It would just make sense, right? Yeah. People are saying yes. Okay. Now, if you all owned your own gym, like workout place, right? Would you go to your gym to work out, or would you go to your competitors down the street?
Mine.
Like, it's stupid, right? Of course you'd go to your business. Like, everybody's chiming in. Of course. Yes, I would. I would frequent my own gym. I've never been to a gym where the owner of the gym, the proprietor, the entrepreneur that started that gym, works out anywhere but their own gym. So, final question, and this one I want all of your comment. Okay. I want all TikTok, all Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and everybody else. I want you to answer this. If you owned your own bank, would you make your deposits at your bank? Would you do your loans from your bank for the cars, for the copy machines, for all the stuff that you need loans for, would you take loans from your own bank or would you go to somebody else's?
If I could own a bank, I would definitely use my own.
Right. Like it. We're in pretend land right now, right? Like
Right.
you don't have to be like, well, I could never own a bank. Get out of that scarcity mindset and think abundance. If you owned your own bank, would you make deposits at your bank? Would you take withdrawals from your bank? Would you do loans through your own bank? Would you frequent your bank? Of course you would. You own the bank. Matter of fact, you would probably be looked very down on if you owned a bank and you did all your banking with the competitor down the street. You would probably be kicked off of your own company's board of directors. You would do business with your own bank. So final thing I need to ask you is why don't all of you have your own bank? Oh, Chris, I can't afford a bank. Oh, Chris, that would take a lot of money. Oh man, there's no way I'll ever be able to own a bank. Your mindset's broken. You absolutely can own your own bank. It doesn't need to be a brick and mortar. It doesn't need to have anyone's name on the front except for your own name. Becoming your own bank is more mindset than it is anything else. It is you just changing the way that you handle and treat your money. Ben just mentioned it. Imagine you created your own bank using this system, okay? Using the infinite banking concept, and you created your bank, which was run, and the machine where your money went and was held is nothing more than a mutually owned insurance company that holds your money, and the vehicle is a specially designed and engineered whole life because that's what it's always been. Look it up, folks. I know some of you are like, oh, whole life's garbage. Regular whole life might be a terrible place to put your money. These are specially designed and engineered for what we're talking about. Google BOLI, B-O-L-I. Google COLI, C-O-L-I. You will find that banks are the number one purchasers of these types of whole life policies in the world. Look it up, folks. Google BOLI and you will see it. Hundreds of pages will come up. So if all of these people subscribe to this, the wealthy, the banks, and everybody else are using their own privatized banking system, why are you not? And the answer is one thing and one thing only. You are the only person standing in your way for creating your own bank because all it is mimicking what a bank does with your money that you gave up control of to them. They just do the same thing that you can do every day. Why can't you finance your own cars? Okay. Many of you on here probably pay cash for your car. Okay. You go to the dealership, you pay cash. You know what you just did? You gave up the earning potential of whatever money you paid for that car for the rest of your life. Imagine if you could do that exact same thing, pay cash for a car, but you first change one thing and you put that money into your privatized bank. That's specially designed and engineered whole life. You immediately in the next 30 days, take a loan from your bank and go buy the car. And then you have to change one thing. You then treat your money the same way you would have treated the banks, and you pay your bank back a monthly, payment, because that's what most people do, pay monthly. You pay your bank back a monthly payment. What is the payment? How much is it? How much do I need to pay it back? Whatever amount you want. How much I pay back my bank for my cars is the same amount that M&T Bank would charge me, the same amount that Wells Fargo would charge me. I just pay my bank back the same amount. And if you just changed that one thing and treated your money the same way you treat the bank's money, someone else's bank's money, you would then learn how to get all the money back for all the cars you're ever going to buy, drive, and own. And if you guys want to learn how to do that, go to chrisnaugle.com. Here's TikTok and get this free booklet. Not trying to sell the booklet. It's free. And you can get this booklet by registering for the Wealth webinar, which is also free. This booklet, 68 pages, tells you how to get all the money back for every car you will ever buy, drive, and own. It is so simple. But people overcomplicate it, or people listen to people that have never learned about it, tell them that it's not good, that it's a scam. Dave Ramsey's famous video, Infinite Banking is a Scam. Watch my video, Garrett Gunderson's video, Caleb's video, all of the videos talking about how Dave Ramsey clearly and embarrassingly doesn't even understand the infinite banking concept because that video proves it. The dude's clueless when it comes to what we do. So I'm going to get off this little rant, but listen, this is what you need to do, folks. You want to beat inflation? Move your money. You want to beat the wealth game and become wealthy and learn how to keep your money instead of making money and then giving it all back? Learn how to be your own bank, and you will understand how the wealthy get wealthier when everybody else loses everything. It's a simple game.
Chris, I just wanted to add one thing that you said, and it really drives home a point, right? Is the vehicle used for this is specially designed and engineered whole life policy, right? So whole life insurance has been around for hundreds of years. The companies that we use have been around forever, over 120 some years. They're very financially secure. The product itself, that vehicle, is plain and simple. I can explain to you everything you need to know about whole life insurance in 20 minutes. It's guaranteed. It's solid. It's safe. It's risk-free. Like all that stuff that goes into it, right? But let me ask this. Why, if it's so simple, are we doing a 6-week series of 2 hours every single week? And why do we provide hundreds and hundreds of hours of training every single year on infinite banking? It's because it's a concept and it's an idea, and you have to be able to wrap your brain around it. You need to learn strategy, and the more you know, the more powerful it becomes. And that's why we're dedicating the next 6 weeks to not only infinite banking, but the concept and the strategy that's involved. Because if you can understand that and wrap your head and change your mindset, you will never go back to the old way of looking at money and using banks ever. You'll never go back. I can promise you that. So I am super excited for this 6-week journey that we're about to start right now.
Absolutely. Everybody wants me to flip my screen here real quick because they want to see the book. So TikTok, I'm sorry, we're trying to fix this, but it's called Drifting Away from Traditional Car Buying. And this is the book that teaches you how to get all the money back for all the cars you're ever going to buy, drive, and own. Sorry, I'm kind of giving the credit here to the TikTokers because we've got a lot of them on here right now asking questions. So what you do is, and actually, hold on, I'm just put this up here. So, and then I'm going to hand it to you. So what you folks would do is you just go right here to chrisnaugle.com and immediately just scroll down like 2 clicks. There it is. There's your free 90-minute video, but you might not want to watch that because you're like, no, Chris, no, I want the book. Great. Scroll down one more time. Private Money Club. You can join that. Wealth webinar right here. So if you register for the free wealth webinar that's going on today, what will happen is once you register, you will get that book right there, which is the same book. There you go. So we're going to have the camera videographer actually do this. I think, we got it like that. There we go.
Chris, so once you start your own bank, is there anything wrong with having fun with it? Like, have you ever named any of your banks? Because I just saw our YouTube follower, Sean, said, my bank is so sweet, I named it White Sexual Chocolate.
I have not named my banks yet. I should start naming my banks. I don't know if I'm going to name it Sexual Chocolate, but I don't know. I just call my bank the Bank of Naugle. I don't know. I mean, I guess I should get a little more creative with naming the banks. Let me ask you, Ben, do you have a name for your bank?
I don't. It's my whole life policy.
I think that's going to go on my goals list for 2022 to name my bank.
Oh, that's hilarious. So, listen, let me just kind of I'll give you the 30-second view. So when we're talking about being your own bank, there's one change. First thing, you just do one change. You change where your savings goes first. You all make money. I'm just talking about the money you keep, not the money that you're giving away for the bills, the diapers, the food, the overpriced gas. I'm talking about the money you keep, okay, which by the law of wealth, law number 1, it means you should be keeping 1/10 of your money, okay? So that 1/10 of your money first, not 1/2, 1/10 of that money should go into your own bank. Okay, so this is your bank. And then from there, what we need to do is we need to figure out how to move the money that's in our bank. Because most people stop here and they think, okay, I'm going to put the money in my bank and I'm just going to leave it there because it pays a guaranteed interest rate and dividends. So they think that that's good enough. Please don't do the infinite banking concept if that's what you're going to do. Please don't call us. Don't set up a call. Don't watch the 90-minute video. If you're just going to put the money here and leave it. It will not work for you. You are one of the people that can continuously just say that the infinite banking concept doesn't work because it won't work for you. What you then have to do is find a way to then move your money, okay, into a place where it can work for you. Always, and this goes with the baby step rules of Dave Ramsey. So you can see I do like Dave Ramsey. You want to actually step into the world of Dave Ramsey, then start applying baby steps. But I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to change where my money went first. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at how much money do I give away to the credit cards? How much money do I give away to car payments? How much is that cell phone, that new cell phone you just bought, costing you every month? How much is the home remodel loan that you have? How much is that exercise equipment that you just bought during COVID for your garage? How much do you make payments to another bank every single month for? So let's just say your exercise equipment's $100 a month. Your home remodel is $200 a month. Okay, the cell phone, $60 a month. I think it's probably more than that now. Your car payment, $500 a month. Your credit cards, let's just say you're paying $600 a month. Just so all of you know, all this money is money that you're giving away to somebody else's bank, and that's where you start. You start by taking back the money that you're giving away to everybody else. So what we do is here's the hard part. You have to first apply law number 1, which is save money or keep money. Once you keep it, you can put it in your bank. Once it's in your bank, you can take it out. How soon after? Immediately, folks. Immediately in the first 30 days. Realistically, when your check clears, you put it in and you can take it out. It might not be 100% in the first year, 2 years, or 3 years, but it can be up to 90%. So we take that money out. What we want to do is, like Dave Ramsey, we want to snowball our debts. And how we do that is start with the lowest balance. Let's just say your lowest balance is your exercise equipment. $1,000 on your exercise equipment. Okay, and you pay $100 a month. What we would do is we would take a loan from your bank, pay off the exercise equipment, and then recapture the $100 that you were giving away to somebody else's bank back to your bank. Do you see how easy that is? Literally, it's a circle. But the circle, when you are your own bank, ends in one place, your bank, not their bank. Notice we bypass giving the money up to their bank. All we're going to do is we're going to take that $100 back and put it in our bank. And now we've got more money working for you. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the next loan out and we're going to pay off the next one, your cell phone. And then now we've got, instead of $100, now we got $160 a month because you no longer owe Apple $60 a month. You're going to pay $160 back to your bank. See how now we're using velocity in our favor because now our money supply back to our bank is going up simply by taking back money that you were giving away. You own the bank. You should be doing business with your bank, not their bank. And you just go down the line. The home remodel loan, the car, the credit cards. And this number just keeps climbing. It goes to 260, then it goes to 1,060. I'm not doing the math, but you get it? All we're doing is taking back the money that you're giving away to everybody else. Once you've taken back all the money you're giving away to everybody else, then we move on to the fun shit. Because now you got a whole lot more money that you're keeping, and it didn't take you working harder. You didn't have to work longer. You didn't have to take on any risk, or you didn't even have to go to NFT Animator's page and buy an NFT that is difficult probably for you to convert to cash. Maybe, maybe not. But hey, listen, you now have a bunch more money because you're not giving it away. Then what you do is then you invest. And then maybe you find somebody credible to then learn how to buy crypto, someone like Ben that has rules that says, hey, I buy it at 40 and I sell it at 50 or 60, or somebody that knows how to play this game like Spencer or Ben. There's so many of you on here. And then you maybe invest in crypto. Maybe instead of crypto, you start doing private loans like I do. You know, I loan my money out. Maybe you don't like private loans. Maybe you play the stock market. Great. Maybe there's a million things you can invest your money in. Maybe it's real estate like Steven. He's a big real estate investor. You see, when you're your own bank, you finance all the things in your life with your bank instead of their bank. Folks, join us today at 1 p.m. because that's what we're going to teach you how to do. Oh, and by the way, I did say that it was free, right? So Stephen and Ben, closing comments. What should we tell everybody? Crickets.
What should we tell them?
Like,
I think I think that we're already in, a crazy economic cycle right now. And I think we're on the verge of something huge. I know you mentioned before the 45, 50, 90, 100-year cycles are like all converging right now. So we're about to see a big event and we'll probably see increased inflation, but then there's going to be the rug pull. And who knows, maybe after that, we'll see Dow 70,000.
Yeah, boy, that would be really bad for some people, but really good for us, Ben. Really good for us because, when you look at history, it proves and tells you exactly where it's going. And this is where we're at right now. Actually, this is before where we're at. We're at all-time highs. We're like up here somewhere, and where's it going to go? Folks, you don't even need to be smart to understand simple logic. What goes up must go down. And
I think that's an Einstein thing too, actually.
Is it? What goes up must come back down.
Right?
It's the law of gravity, and the markets work on cyclical patterns, cycles, and seasons, and you got to learn them. So, Ben, thank you so much for joining us for the Wealth Webinar Series.
Thanks for having me.
Stephen, what else you got to say?
Hey man, shit is fucking crazy out there. So get ready, get prepared. There's going to be more opportunities to make yourself and your family multi-millionaires coming up in the next couple of years than any other time in our lifetime. So now's the time to create your private bank. Now's the time to get educated, to get prepared, to get your finances in order, to get your family in order, to learn things like Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world, uninterrupted compound interest. Learn the strategies of the wealthy, learn the rules of the wealthy, learn the laws of wealth. Join us at 1 p.m. today to start that financial educational journey, and stay frosty, my friends. Until next week, we'll see you then.
Stay frosty. Love it. All right, folks. That's it for another week of What the F Happened. I almost said Wealth Webinar Series, but What the F Happened. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We even got to argue today, which we have been lacking. So you guys got your left-right hook in there. Thank you. We will see you next time.